Anthony Oluoch, Member of Parliament for Mathare constituency. Welcome and good morning.
Good morning and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. Tim Wanyonyi, Member of Parliament for Westlands. Karibu sana to the show.
Asante sana. Thank you.
Senator Isaac Mora, welcome back to the show.
Thank you very much, sir.
And you have William Kamtek, Member of Parliament for TRT, Baringo County. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
How has it begun?
It began well, except in my constituency we have lost some few people. Natural attrition, but too many people have died at the time of this new year.
Yeah.
But so far so good. I mean, really, we can't do much about that.
All right.
Yeah.
And of course, just waking up to the top stories in the two dailies. We'll look at the front page of the Standard. It's now Ruto versus Kenyatta and Raila. And this is the question of 2022. The gloves are off. Deputy President tears into handshake and BBI for the first time, dismissing the pact between the President and ODM leader as Raila's special vehicle to State House. That is on page 6 of the Standard. But also at the same time, you see that gloves off as Uhuru and Ruto rift widens. That is the front page of the Daily Nation.
Exactly. This is what even the Deputy President said. But before I can tell you what he said, Jubilee MPs allied to the Kileweke camp, which is President Uhuru's side of Jubilee, says that they've told Deputy President, they've dared Deputy President William Ruto to resign instead of undermining the President from within. This is what the President said, Deputy President said himself, and I quote, "What are all these campaigns for in regards to BBI? Who do they want to persuade? Is it a way of misusing government resources?" This is the Deputy President himself asking this critical question. It goes on to talk about how the DP dismisses BBI forums, which are dear to his boss, as a waste of public funds.
All right, and I want us to begin with the voice of the leaders that are allied to the Deputy President that spoke, I believe, yesterday or the day before, in as far as this conversation is concerned. Let's just listen in.
Wameenda kupanga mambo ya ODM vile wanajipanga mambo ya 2022. Ile mimi nawauliza, hiyo mulifanya Kisii ni mzuri. Mupange lineup yenu ya ODM ya 2022. Muachane na mambo mawili. Jambo la kwanza, wachana na pesa za umma kutumia katika mikutano ya kupanga mambo yenu ya 2022.
Lakini tukianza sasa kuona watu wameenda kwa region wanatumia billions of money kufanya tena ukarabati kwa ile kitu ambayo sisi tumesema basi sisi tumekubali. Sisi kama wananchi wa area hii tunashangaa kwa
wafanye kenye wanataka. Kama wanataka kuongeza vyeo, viti, waongeze ya prime minister, waongeze hata ya king, hata ya queen, hatuna shida. Ambia yetu tutaunga mkono. Lakini 2022 tunataka kuambia pia His Excellency the President retire honorably.
Juzi wanaenda mambo ya BBI. Ndege 15, 18 million. 15. Mwananchi hapa anaumia.
What I saw in Kisii had nothing to do with BBI. It was a launch of a presidential campaign for 2022.
Ile tunashangaa saa hii ni kwamba kuna watu wanatembea wakitumia pesa kwamba wanaifanyia campaign the BBI report. How do you campaign for a report where there is nobody who is opposing it?
All right, so that's the leaders that spoke yesterday at that event in Narok County. I believe they're opening a church there. And we hear the Deputy President saying that this is a project for the ODM party. You also hear Johanna Ngeno, Member of Parliament for Emurua Dikil, saying that telling the President to retire honorably before the Deputy President. And I want to begin with you, Honorable Anthony Oluoch. What have we come to this extent? All along, we've just been hearing these attacks from different corners, but now this is happening even as the Deputy President watches.
First of all, I think to be clear, the BBI is a product of the handshake and a product of what Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga initiated. So the attacks for me by the DP are really surprising to the extent that, one, he was there at Bomas when His Excellency the President launched this document. The President said, let us read this document, and the idea was, let's read it and try and see what else it has and it does not have. I think the second statement that he made, and which was said before the DP, is that there will be a phase where wananchi will be allowed to interact. And Uhuru said, and I think in more than one forums, including in Sagana and other places, that I will lead the taking of this document, and I think he said they start from Meru or something of the sort. Thirdly, to be clear, is that public participation is entrenched in the Constitution at Article 18. It is also in the County Governments Act. Now, it is even mandatory that when you're doing budgets and other items, we do have to go round to counties. In fact, I think there is a bill or something that now should be able to facilitate members of parliament to be able to carry out public participation. So it is surprising for the DP and his ilk to be coming and saying that this document tulikubaliana now atujui mobilization ni anini. Really, even I, who is a lawyer, I have read that document more than 2 times. I still find that there is something that will change my perspective, enrich my position, help me to agree or disagree with the position. And going into these meetings, and I was there at this meeting, there was so many convention, US-style convention kind of speeches that had nothing to do with political parties. Of course, you will have 1 or 2 people, excited people who will bring in siasa. But it was very clear if you go through that people were addressing issues. Governor Nyong'o came in and he spoke about inequality between the haves and the have-nots in government. Governor Kingi came there very eloquently talking about, I think, one of the Giriama idioms, when you're using the word kunani Kenya, Ninini, what is happening to Kenya? Every time there is a problem in any bomber, like he said it, people always gathered and asked themselves, what is wrong with us? We did it at independence. We did it when we were having a crisis in a multi-party era and IPPG. We did it at Bomas, and we're doing it now. There is nothing really strange about this. I think lastly, the Deputy President has come to that point, and you ask me, how have we come to this point? I think the Deputy President has come to the point where he now no longer cares what he says, whether he respects the President or doesn't respect the President, and I think he's daring Uhuru to fire him. And I think the President should do just that, fire him.
But is that a possibility, Anthony Oluoch?
It is a possibility, technically. The Constitution says that you cannot, but by saying fire me, I'm using that word figuratively. The President can initiate the removal of the Deputy President, or he could just ignore him, and I think that's what the President has done. And let me give you examples. When Kanini Kega appeared at the burial of Charles Rubia, the Deputy President, from what I hear, those who went, he literally grabbed the speech from the county commissioner to read it. After Kanini Kega came and says, I have 500,000. Kanini Kega went again.
I think it was the funeral of Rigathi Gachagwa's mother.
Yes, Rigathi Gachagwa's mother. Thanks for the correction. And then there was another burial, I think, in which, in Laikipia, where I think the Kiunjuri was there. And again, Kega came, and he came and said, yesterday you said I wasn't sent by the President. Today I've come with another 500,000. The President, in his body language, and simply because of the kind of action that the DP and his people have engaged in, he has decided technically that he has no Deputy President.
But
so, as I just conclude this point, what is itching Ruto, in my view, mistakenly, is that he thinks that this forum is going to be used to start creating formation and euphoria. And if I was the Deputy President, in the period that he started the Rift Valley caucus that talked about BBI and the Embu one, I think, that had, I would have taken charge of this, and it would have been very difficult for the President to stop him. You know, the way he usually comes and says, Mimi the Deputy President, munataka niwe nikifanya nini? I would have taken charge of BBI and gone ahead of what he thinks that the ODM people are doing and turned it into a Jubilee thing. He didn't. Now, because Raila and he is a partner in the handshake has taken the knee, he wants to cry foul. But you cannot have it both ways.
If the President was to fire his own deputy, isn't that not betraying the ticket that he ran for? Isn't that also not betraying the same people, the same Kenyans, the same citizens that voted for that ticket?
Again, and he has asked me that, you remember I have said I use this word figuratively. I am conscious of the fact that the Constitution 2010 does not allow you, like Moi used to do, fire you on lunchtime news or by the roadside. But technically, from the time that Dr. Matiang'i was given all the cabinet positions.
Right.
I mean, all the management and running of,
overseeing,
overseeing the management of cabinet affairs. Technically, that guy was fired. The guy has no job. So I'm using the word figuratively. The president can and has fired his deputy president.
Honorable Isaac, do you agree?
Not really. I think that is a narrative that Anthony Oluoch is trying to advance for very obvious reasons. There has been a lot of challenges around the Jubilee Party and how communications have been, done, because we have not met as a Jubilee Party for the longest, really. I think the last time we met was when we were agreeing on which position should be occupied in Parliament. And because of that lack of communication, a lot of water has passed under the bridge. And it is very awkward for many people who are in Jubilee that now we have two sides. Now there are people who belong to Uhuru and there are people who belong to Ruto. And it is clear, let's not lie to each other. I think we have been in denial for a very long time. If you look at the Daily Nation, they say it's gloves off. And His Excellency the President had promised that from January things will be different. The same case, I think I saw Aaron Cheriot also speaking, my colleague, saying the same sometime in Baringo, I think. So it is really the end of Jubilee. In fact, if we go to elections the way we are, it can be worse than the ODM men in Black Kasarani. And yours truly was very much involved.
That is elections for the party leadership.
For the party. So I think the party is over. The party is over. We are just hanging on what do you call it? Bootstrap. Whatever. Bootstraps, yes. It's just, you are left to your own devices.
So the lifespan of Jubilee as a party.
Yeah, and it's quite unfortunate because it was not really a party. That I can assure you.
What was it?
It was just some name, some song, and some 2 or 3 colors.
But you believed in it so much.
So much, because it was a juggernaut that brought together 14 political parties, and we all believed now we have got 2, polemic, ideological underpinnings of NASA and Jubilee. In fact, we were encouraging NASA to also coalesce into one political party and give it to President Uhuru and William Ruto, that they actually had come up with a very good, machinery. That if it had actually anchored itself properly in power, it would have really shaped the politics of this country.
But what I'm hearing you say, Honorable Isaac, and perhaps this is also my question then, has BBI strained the relationship between Ruto and his boss, more so after the handshake? They don't seem to be on the same page, and you're telling me the party that you belong to is dead.
Certainly, yes, because BBI requires statesmen. It doesn't require political competitors. But now it has been weaponized. It's become a tool for political contestation. And in that regard, Raila and Ruto, I was with them in ODM. And these are lions. In politics we have lions, foxes and hares. So Raila and Ruto are lions. And if you were to speak in Kiswahili, they say fahari wawili hawishi zizi moja. Na wakipigana nyasi ndio huumia. That's exactly what has happened because of their ambition. Because Ruto has got his own script, Raila has his own script, but now BBI is turning out to be some form of subterfuge. Because if it does not become the political anchorage for to resolve the problems, as it were, then it is left to a winner and a loser. And if BBI produces a winner and a loser, it means it's no longer about uniting the country. And
therefore the question, Honorable Tim Wanyonyi, so we were told that we are going to build bridges for the country, to bring it together, to deal with the issues of election issues that come with it, and also to build on national ethos. But now it's just a political contest that we are seeing. How then can we trust you, the politicians, that indeed you mean the best for this country based on what you are seeing?
Thank you very much. I think if you realize what happened in Bomas when we were launching the BBI report, that BBI report was deliberately watered down to accommodate certain interests. And the opposition that had been exhibited outside, when we got to Bomas, those who were opposing the BBI report are the ones who came in supporting it, because it looked like now it was favoring their side more than it was favoring the handshake. So, how so? Because the things that were advancing before the report came out were not in the report. For example, they were talking about the powerful prime minister, which wasn't there. They were talking about, I don't know, creating positions for certain individuals, which were not there. So when it reached there and it read, it found that the opposition was anti-climax. And they relaxed. And when they came out, they were looking like they are supporting the report. They were supporting it, and they were, in fact, their first rallies, they were actually supporting the report. I don't know what has changed all of a sudden, that now they are seeing there's something else, something different. So I believe what we are seeing is going back to history, 2005.
If you say that it was an anti-climax, what is now the climax that you're looking for? Is it to be achieved through the phase 2 of consultation that you're seeing in the different parts of the country?
I think the Tanga group believe that maybe there's a different report that is being advanced in
What do you think yourself?
What I think, because we said the report must go back to the people to read. So for us, I think we are still going to advance what they were opposing last time.
But if the report came from the people from the first
that's
phase,
important that you should say that you're going to advance what they were opposed to.
What they were opposed last time.
So what are you looking for?
We are looking for, if there's occasion of a prime minister, we want a powerful prime minister. We don't want the prime minister who was in that report in Bomas. That is something that I don't think Kenyans are after that.
Can Kenyans then, at the end of the day, make the conclusion that this BBI, that you as well, all seated here, including your counterparts and your colleagues, are opposing or supporting? At the end of the day, can Kenyans make the conclusion that this BBI is just for political elites to create seats and not necessarily for those 9-point agendas that have been mentioned?
It's not about political elites. It's about Kenyans. Let me tell you. It's about Kenyans. This BBI report is addressing very pertinent issues that are affecting Kenyans. Every time, for example, every time we have gone to an election, we have come out differently.
But we seem to be focusing on prime minister position. We seem to be focusing on positions. You seem to be focusing on position as legislators rather than those 9 points that could actually help Kenyans.
That is if those positions will solve the perennial problems that we've been having with our elections. Then so be it. Because Kenyans are saying we want a parliamentary form of government. We are saying we want a parliamentary government, a form of government system that has a prime minister who is powerful. It's not who is going to be appointed by the president, the system we have in Tanzania or we have in Uganda. We want a prime minister, because if I have the majority in parliament, then I should call the shots as a prime minister.
All right. Honorable William Kamtek, as you observe this conversation happening, the fact that you as legislators, you as political leaders are divided, not based on the 9-point agendas, but based on these positions, should Kenyans be supporting this BBI given that it's also going into phase 2? Should we have hope for it?
Yes. First of all, I want to say that I've read what the DP and his team has been talking about over the weekend. First of all, I want to say that the Deputy President is the least qualified person to talk about wastage of public funds. Because he is on record for all manner of allegations about him being corrupt. And so he should not be lecturing anyone about...
Sorry, what did you say?
Yes, that the Deputy President is the least qualified person to tell anybody about wastage or use of public funds.
Because
he is on record as the most corrupt Kenyan.
How can you substantiate that?
It is there. There was a survey which was done some time back. And Kenyans came up with that.
Not based on a survey.
Do
you have the evidence to say what to prove what you say?
That survey was done, and there is evidence. The Western land is still there. It's indeed there. Didn't he grab land from some lady in Western...
But all those matters have been addressed
but I'm saying there are many other... Anything that is corrupt has always been traced to him. So he is the least qualified. He is the least qualified to tell us about wastage of public funds. Number two, I wish we could focus also more on this BBI issue on the matter of the National Health Service Commission. personally, that's among all the issues that came up from BBI, that is the most important point that came from BBI.
But one of the lists spoken about.
Is one of the lists spoken about, because I mean, you know, positions and power excites people. Yet the most important issue that came out is that of National Health Service Commission, and I believe that the public participation now that has been launched by the former Prime Minister and the rest of us who will be attending is very good. And when we say that we want to read this BBI report, part of the reading is through using the public participation and going into town hall meetings and talk about these issues together with Wananchi. Now, what I don't understand is why the Deputy President and his team, you know, this Tanga group has become some kind of, it's like they're like suicide bombers.
What do you mean?
You know, but they do not want to detonate the vest. You know, they're sincerely speaking, because they are megalomaniacs.
Hey.
You know,
let's explain. What do you mean?
You know, what I'm seeing is this: we have a situation where there is a group of people led by the deputy president who are so uncomfortable with what is happening in government, yet they love power so much that they can't bolt. So they find themselves in a very difficult situation.
Right.
But those of us who mean well for this country, we will push on. We will continue with the public participation, shaping the opinion, and make sure that what was contained in the report is properly explained to Kenyans, and Kenyans, by the time we are coming to the referendum question, we are all on the same page.
All right, we'll continue this conversation after the